So I thought I'd put the e.l.f. Jelly Pop Primer and the e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer head to head. So I'm going to be doing 2 tests. My mind is blown. So just kidding about doing 2 tests. I want to do 3 tests. We'll put on bronzer and life will be okay. This is why I prefer testing a product for more than 1 day. Things like this happen. Hi guys, welcome to Emmarie Lane, where my goal is to save you money by battling similar beauty products and methods to see which one's best for you. Oh, and remind you that you are enough. So I noticed in a lot of people's like 2019 favorites all over the internet, not even just on YouTube, that there was 2 really popular primers, the e.l.f. Jelly Pop Primer and the e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer. And even though they're not the exact same, it's not like a dupe because they're from the same brand, they have similar qualities and everyone really loves them. So I thought I'd put the e.l.f. Jelly Pop Primer and the e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer head to head, see what happens, see which one possibly could be better than the other. I don't know. Love the Pop Primer. I've never tried the Poreless one, so I'm curious to see what's gonna happen. The reason I decided to pair the 2 together, besides everyone really loved them, is they do have some similar qualities, not all. The Poreless Putty Primer is supposed to be hydrating, which is good. It smooths over texture for a seamless finish, and it grips your makeup. The Jelly Pop Primer is supposed to give you more dewy finish. It's hydrating and is also supposed to grip your makeup. See what I mean? See why I was like, I want to try these 2 out, see what happens. So I'm going to be doing 2 tests. I want to do one with a more matte foundation and one with more of a dewy foundation. See what happens. One thing I really love about the Jelly Pop Primer is the longevity aspect. It's so good at making your makeup last longer. I want to see if this is just as good. I've never tried this before. I'm excited to see what happens. So we're going to start off with the matte foundation today. I'm going to split my face in half. I think I'm gonna go with Jelly Pop on the right and the Putty Primer on the left, and then do the matte foundation today. So I know with the Jelly Pop Primer, you're supposed to apply it and then let it sit for a second. I love the smell of this stuff. I know sometimes people don't love their makeup to smell or have a scent to it at all. I don't mind as long as it smells good. Okay, I'm gonna wipe my hands off to make sure I don't have any of the Jelly Pop stuff on my fingers. So for the matte foundation, I'm going to be using my favorite matte foundation right now. This is the NYX Stay Matte But Not Flat liquid foundation. It's so good. Like, it really is though. Is there any special way to use this primer? You can use this as an eyeshadow primer. That's awesome. I had no idea. Learn something new every day. Okay. Oh wow. Okay, that's doing an awesome job. I already love this stuff. I try really hard to press rather than rub primer, especially ones that are like more pore filling and smoothing. I really like this though. Oh, that makes me happy. Okay, so I love the combination of the NYX Stay Matte and the Jelly Pop Primer because you can still see a little tiny bit of dewiness through the foundation even though it's like pretty high coverage. So I'm just gonna take one of my Amazon Beauty Blender tools and go to town. Ooh, I'm getting hair. I should have put my hair back, but I didn't. See how this looks. Wow, it's so interesting to see the 2 different finishes. I have this one pesky, I don't know if it's a pore or if it's like a scar technically because it's so huge, and it did a decent job covering or filling it in. It's still kind of there, but it's not nearly as noticeable. But again, I'm more focused on the longevity of both formulas. Okay, this is what we look like. I'm gonna put the rest of my makeup on. Give me 1 second. Okay, I zoomed in a little bit. Now that I'm all done, this is what we look like. Everything looks really good. I can definitely tell that this side is a little bit more dewy compared to this side, but that's okay. It doesn't bother me too much. I don't think anyone will notice. Not that I would care either way. So I'm gonna go about my day. It is 10:30 right now, and so I start getting ready for bed around 11:30, so we'll get like at least a 13-hour wear test, maybe more. I might do a check-in depending on what happens, but I just want to show you what I look like right after everything's all done. Oh, side note, the only concealer I have on is underneath my eyes. I didn't put concealer anywhere else, mostly because I didn't need to. I have a little zit right here that's poking through a little bit, but that doesn't really bug me. So yeah. So I don't know about you, but like some days I'll decide like I'm gonna go to bed at a decent time tonight. And then you just stay busy throughout the whole day and you look at the clock and you're like, oh, it's 2 hours past the time I was planning on going to bed. So what happened to me today? Life. So a lot of interesting things happened. So probably about 4 o'clock is when I started noticing just a little bit of a difference. It was really only right here on the zit that is just super duper dry from the treatment that I tried, like spot treatment, and my skin was not for it. So it doesn't surprise me that after a while the foundation started sticking to it, because the matte one always happens. It actually normally happens within an hour or two, so it lasted a little bit longer. And besides that, my makeup stayed the same until about, hold on, I took a picture of it so I could timestamp it and show you what it looked like. 7:40, I noticed that the putty side started getting really shiny. And it was actually more shiny than the Jelly Pop, which was fascinating to me. It was nothing awful. It didn't start getting really, really shiny until about 10 o'clock at night, and then it just looked like I had a lot of oil build up. But the most fascinating part was the fact that my makeup didn't break up like at all up until about a half an hour ago, and I started noticing, I don't know if you can start to see some redness around my nose area-ish. It's still not as bad as it could be. My mind is blown, but I kind of want to do 3 tests now. So just kidding about doing 2 tests, I want to do 3 tests after I've seen these results. I think tomorrow I'm going to do the Dewy foundation like I talked about before, and then the next day I'm going to do the same matte foundation by NYX, but powder it. So yeah, I'm really thrilled. Okay, we're on day 2, and so we're doing a more luminous foundation today. And I chose the LA Girl Pro Coverage High Definition Luminizing Concealer. And this shade is too dark for me, especially in the winter, so I mix it with their white formula. But I already did the primers. Tiny bit of white. I am so pale right now. It's not funny, but it is. So we're just gonna go with that. And today I am curious to see what happens because I was so shiny yesterday by end of day. I'm going to powder my forehead on both sides and then leave the rest unpowdered to see if that does anything. I just got my blending sponge again. This is my favorite luminous foundation. It's really awesome, but I can get oily with it if I don't powder it. Sometimes it really just depends on my skin and how it feels that day. And I forgot to clip my hair back again, and this is still kind of dark for me, but we'll put on bronzer and life will be okay. Also, I'm doing this a lot later than I wanted to, but you know, yesterday I stayed up until like 2:30, so we'll still get a decent wear test time. This stuff is just pretty. Okay, I'm gonna put the rest of my makeup on. Probably put some eyeshadow on because of how dark this foundation is. It's kind of weird. And we'll go from there. I'll be right back. I've just got some of this Coty Airspun translucent powder, and I'm gonna, first I wanna do this so I don't set creases because that's no fun. And just gently apply some powder to my forehead, also under my eyes because that's necessary. Okay, now that I'm done, I'm gonna go about my day again. I really like how things are looking, and see what happens, see if that'll make a difference at all. I'll let you know what happens at the end of the day. I'll see you in a sec. Hi, my hair is a wreck, but it's fine. Okay, let's talk about what happened today. Today did not go as well as yesterday, but it still went decent. I can definitely see a bigger difference on one side versus the other. The Jelly Pop definitely broke up, especially on my nose, a lot more. It kind of looks the same now. Well, the Jelly Pop side looks a little bit worse. Except for on my forehead, everything looks great. So for me personally, if I'm going to be using these primers with a more dewy foundation, I'm gonna need some powder, but this tells me that like, if you have dry skin, I don't think that'll be an issue for you. I'm still curious to see what happens with the matte foundation on top. I'm still curious to see what happens with the combination matte foundation and the powder, but besides like my nose, everything else looks really good. So far, have a preference. I'm not gonna say what my preference is until I finish like all of the tests and all that, but there's definitely like there's definitely one that I'm preferring over the other. We'll see what happens tomorrow. Oh, I forgot to say. So it was about 8 o'clock, I want to say. Hold on, I took a picture again. I would say it was between 8 and 9 o'clock when I really started noticing my nose breaking up on the Jelly Pop side, and probably another hour later when it started breaking up the putty side. So I've already applied the primer, and I'm gonna get my hair out of the way, and I'm gonna go back in with the NYX foundation. The reason I want to do this last test is not only because of how shiny I was sometimes, even if I'm shiny at all during the day, if I try to go in with any type of setting powder, it will completely dry out my skin, even if I just use the littlest, tiniest bit. So I'm gonna see if these primers can help balance it out, and of course I'm starting later than I wanted to again. I feel like the first month the daylight savings time hit, I was doing so good going to bed at 11:30 every night, except for maybe on Saturday. But like for the most part, keeping to a good sleepy schedule. And then like the next month, it was kind of like, okay, I went to bed at a good time like 3 times a week, and now it's back to like, I hope I go to bed at a decent time at least once a week. It's a bad habit, I recognize it. I'm trying to do better, it's just not happening right now. Okay, I really like this. Let me put on the rest of my makeup, I'll be right back. All I have left to do is powder, and I'm just gonna take the same one I used yesterday, the Coty Airspun. My blush is a little bit intense, and I tried to calm it down, but it just didn't work, so we're just gonna go with it today. Something that I forgot to mention is normally I only get oily in my T-zone. I normally never get any shine ever anywhere else, like especially on my cheeks. And so that's what kind of like threw me off, and that's why I want to do this, because I'm kind of worried that the setting powder will dry out any place that's not my T-zone. So everything looks good. I'll check in later. This is why I prefer testing a product for more than one day. Things like this happen. I did not expect these results at all. So just to put this out there, I really thought my face would look better like halfway through the day than it did. The Coty Airspun powder really messed up most of my face, except for my forehead. I would say my forehead looks decent. I would say I was really shiny halfway through the day, except for maybe on my cheeks, like right here. And my face just kind of looks like a mess. It looks really slick and separated. It doesn't look pretty. So I guess the Coty Airspun powder does not love e.l.f. primers. If it comes down to the bottom line, I enjoy both primers, but if you were to ask me if you could only buy one, which one would you choose? I would probably say the putty one. And let me tell you why real quick. It works for more skin types. I feel like even though it's more hydrating, it's not going to cause you to be quite as oily. There's more redness coming through on this side of my face than this side, especially around my nose, and it just seems like it works just a little bit better. I'm not dissing the Jelly Pop, and I still will use it, but if I had to pick one, I'd pick the Poreless Putty Primer. If you're curious to see the realm of magnetic eyeliner that I went into last week, you can click right here. I love you guys so much, and don't ever forget that you are enough. Bye! Mwah!